Hello and welcome to today's Wednesday lecture. Today we're going to review the New Year's message because we've had some questions come in about that. We're going to review the Tree of Sacred Sounds, everything that's involved with that and how you put it together, and then also answer some questions, give some clarification on questions that have come in over the last week or so. But first, the message from January 3rd. This one came in over the weekend, and this was a beautiful message, but a lot of people called in asking, is this Lantos saying that we actually accomplished something during the holy season period? And so I wanted to highlight just a few statements that Lantos made talking about this. At the beginning of it, he spoke about the sacred sounds, and he said, we have enlivened the sacred sounds during these holy days. He said a few more sentences, then he said, the turning of the wave of fullness has generated the sea spray. These are the sounds of the inception of creation. These are the primordial sounds of creation. But the important statement was, the turning of the wave of fullness has generated the sea spray. So what does that mean? Well, obviously we know from the last few months, Lantos has spoken nonstop about the great wave of creation and how fullness curls onto itself, seeking to discover its own limitations, trying to find limitation within the limitless of the fullness of creation. So Lantos has spoken about this aspect of the curling wave of creation, generating this sea spray, this mist of traces of empty. When he spoke in this message on Sunday, saying that the turning of the wave of fullness has generated the sea spray, he's not speaking in general. He's not speaking about this is the process of creation. No, instead, he is specifically referring to what we accomplished during the 41-day course of the Holy Season. This was the purpose of the Holy Season course. The purpose of the course was to enliven the great wave of creation by enlivening the sacred sounds of creation to an extent that these traces of empty would be generated, that this sea spray, these little traces of empty coming off of the fullness of the great wave of creation, that these traces of empty would be created. This was the purpose of the Holy Season course. This process of creation, Lantos made it clear, this is the process of creation. There is none other. This is what is getting enlivened on earth. This is what we did enliven during the Holy Season course. When this great wave of creation is enlivened, it expresses itself in form as the golden form of creation. Now, we do not know when the golden form is actually going to form. But what we certainly do know over the last 3 months is that the golden form cannot form without the great wave of creation being enlivened, because it is the form of the great wave of creation. The great wave expresses itself as the golden form. So by enlivening the great wave of creation during the 41-day Holy Season course, we, at the very least, accomplished the precursor to the golden form of creation. But it's much more than that, because so much benefit is given to all of earth, everyone on earth, but to all of creation, when the great wave is enlivened. So this is something for us to be very happy with. It's something for us to be thankful to be a part of, but to rest assured that your efforts during those 41 days actually meant something. They accomplished something great, the enlivenment of the great wave of creation. And Lantos specifically said this. In the message, he said, there is great value in the steps we have taken, great value in the enlivenment of these precious sounds. He went on to say, we are very fortunate. The teachings of the 8 expressions of personal sounds, sounds associated with the individual material form, are now offered. So even though I started telling you about these personal sacred sounds a couple of months ago, even though we started taking reservations for people to receive their instruction in the personal sacred sounds, it really wasn't until the great wave had become enlivened during the Holy Season course. So basically, it wasn't until the very beginning of this month that we were prepared to actually have all of the teachers teach the students, instruct you in the personal sounds, these 8 primordial values. So this is the ongoing theme of biogenesis for the last 22 years. Lantos gives us something that provides each of us with a tremendous personal benefit. But in taking advantage of that benefit, we benefit all of creation. We benefit our environment, our homes, our families, our friends. We benefit our neighborhoods, our cities. We benefit the whole world by doing these things that Lantos has instructed us to do for our own personal benefit. And that leads us to the Tree of Sounds, because this is another area where taking action for personal benefit benefits everyone else as well. Let me read to you what Lantos said in the message from Sunday, talking specifically about the Tree of Sounds. And he said that the environment supports this path. It is this path back to the source of creation. We position the sacred sound pendants in the designated locations of the home to enliven these specific values of energy for all within the household and for all who enter this home. Even when one is unaware of the existence of the sounds, these small tools will act as the bell, ringing, signaling the way, sounding the path to the source. It is a great blessing for all. The Tree of Sacred Sounds clears the path to fullness of the source. As a result, all expressions, health, abundance, love, each of the 8 limbs of the tree receives waves of fullness, waves of fulfillment. Yes, placing these small pendants in the proper cellular divisions opens the doors to the flowing expressions of the great wave of creation. So that is what he mentioned on Sunday. And the importance there is that we get an understanding of what the purpose of the Tree of Sacred Sounds is for. It is to enliven those 8 primordial values. That is inception, reflection, education, success, love, abundance, health, and curse. For everyone within the household, even guests coming to visit within the household, will receive the benefit of the enlivenment of those 8 primordial values. That's the importance of the Tree of Sounds. But a couple months ago, when Lantos first introduced the Tree of Sounds to us, he spoke more about the Tree of Sounds. Now, in this message, which I'm not going to read the full message to you because I already did that about 2 months ago, Lantos spoke more about how to put together the Tree of Sounds. We're going to focus on that. But he did say a couple of sentences talking about the benefit of it. He said, in this way, these precious pendants form the great tree of sacred sounds for the household and increase the waves of initial rotations during this urgent and sacred time of the growth and development of the golden form for Earth. Right there, I want to focus on that sentence. We, for the past 3 months, we've all been very aware that Lantos refers to this period of time as an urgent and sacred period of time. The need to accomplish the silence, to silence the boiling pot of water for the transformation to occur. The need to increase the initial rotations of creation. Now, we have as you are well aware, been trying as hard as we could to get the fountains, the Singing Seed fountains in, and as far as we are aware, they have been shipped, but there is a delay on that, and that's why we still don't have them. The fountain also, I'm sorry, the Tree of Sounds, the Great Tree of Sacred Sounds, also offers this aspect of increasing the initial rotations of creation for all of society that the fountains will do. This is a tremendous benefit for your environment. It's not just for your household, it's not just for your family, it's for the environment, it's for the world. And the world will benefit from these trees of sacred sounds. And so that's why he said, these precious pendants form the great tree of sacred sounds for the household and increase the waves of initial rotations during this urgent and sacred time of the growth and development of the golden form for Earth. Lantos and Master Teacher Todt, when they introduced the pendants of sacred sounds to us a couple months ago, it was made clear that these need to go out all around the world to increase the initial rotations of creation around the world to help us get through this period of time and develop the golden form. So that's why these pendants are important. And it's not, and yes, wearing one of the pendants, enlivening a pendant and then wearing it each day does have a great benefit, not only for you, but for the environment. But the Tree of Sacred Sounds is something that generates an entire field of initial rotations that will benefit the Earth in this regard. Also, Lantos said, in the case of the Tree of Sounds, lodestones contained within the health and curse pendants offer protection from the spears of negativity or detrimental influences attempting to approach the household. The realm lords contained within each pendant encircle the central element, extending showers of radiant blessings. So that is what he said a couple months ago about the Tree of Sacred Sounds. Let me take just a moment to highlight to you the formation of the Tree of Sounds. Many of you have the Tree of Genesis in your home, and so you are familiar with this map. I'm going to put it up on the screen. It is the Genesis map for the Tree of Genesis for your household. Now, using this Genesis map, we can map out where each of these sacred sound pendants will go. Just briefly, Lantos gave this order. He said the golden gate with the directional tassel is placed at the principal gate. You have that already if you have the Tree of Genesis, or if you got the golden gate at the beginning of 2020 for protection for your household. Then you already have the golden gate at the principal gate. Then the inception pendant goes in gate cell column number 1. Reflection pendant, water cell column number 1. Health pendant, star cell column number 3. Curse pendant, gate cell column number 3. Wheel of Hope, gate cell column number 2. This is the central cellular division. Education pendant, star cell column number 2. Success pendant, water cell column number 3. Love pendant, water cell column number 2. Abundance pendant, star cell column number 1. The golden seal or the golden biotrinity is placed in the central element. This is the gate cell column number 2. And the superstar cells and superwater cells are placed at the outer corners of the household. This is the formation of the Tree of Sacred Sounds. Now, I'm just showing this to you so that you have a basic understanding of how it is formed, but don't worry, we actually will give you a map for your own household. All you do is you send us the diagram of your household, and then we can tell you where each item is going to go, and then we can walk you through it. So you don't need to worry about having to do this on your own, but I wanted you to get an idea of how to do it. Okay, finally, there have been some questions over the last couple of weeks because there is confusion among some people about the distinction between receiving the instruction of your personal sacred sounds versus receiving the pendants of the sacred sound pendants. So the instruction of your personal sacred sounds is given to you by a certified teacher, someone who has gone through extensive training to be able to instruct someone in their personal sacred sounds. Lantos specifically wanted us a few months ago to train people for this purpose, because those teachers would then be responsible for instructing many, many people in their personal sacred sounds. So you can contact us. We will put you in contact with the teacher. That teacher will instruct you in your personal sacred sounds. Depending upon which sounds you want to get instructed in, the cost is generally going to be $100 for a set, a pair of personal sacred sounds. There are 8 primordial values, but they are in pairs. They're instructed in pairs. They can be enlivened in pairs. That means there are 4 pairs of these primordial values of the personal sacred sounds. Inception and reflection is 1 pair. Education and success is another pair. Love and abundance is a 3rd pair. Health and curse is the 4th pair. So you could just get instructed in health and curse. That would be fine. You need to receive instruction in inception and reflection before you receive instruction in anything else. Most of you already have this because you have the moon seeds, and so you were instructed in inception and reflection when you activated your moon seeds. If you don't have the inception and reflection instruction yet, that is given to you for free. Then you would have to pay for the instruction of the pair that you wanted, which was health and curse in this example, and that would be $100. Now, if you get the full set, the instruction in the full set, that means all 4 pairs, all 8 primordial values, then you will, it's $300 instead of $400 because inception and reflection remains free, but you also receive a free inception sacred pendant, the sacred inception pendant. That one is going to be given to you for free. Master Teacher Tote himself gave this instruction that if someone is instructed in the full set of the personal sacred sounds, then that person would receive a free inception toe pendant, the sacred inception pendant. The personal pendants, the sacred sound pendants for your personal sacred sounds. Each of those is normally $95. There are 8 of them, but if you get the full set of sounds, then the inception pendant is free. But then the rest, so a lot of people will say, well, some people say, I just want the full set for myself, and I also want the full set for my tree of sounds. And that's wonderful. You get the value of both. When a pendant is placed in the tree of sounds, it cannot be removed. So you can't borrow the love pendant for the day and wear it with you, and then at nighttime put it back in the tree of sounds. When the pendants are placed in the tree of sounds, they remain in the tree of sounds. So for you to be able to have the tree of sounds and then wear pendants, you have to have a set for the tree of sounds. Then you get extra pendants for you to be able to wear. Perhaps your main interest is health. Well, then have the set for the tree of sounds and get a health pendant in addition to it. Perhaps your principal interest is the curse pendant. Remember what Lantos and Tote said about the curse pendant. It is to remove the binding influence of negativity on the individual. This binding influence is frequently seen in the physical form as addiction, depression, an abundance of obstacles and challenges for the individual, trauma on the emotions. These are areas where if someone faces these, a lot of times it is simply the binding influence of negativity on the individual, and the curse pendant is the one that removes that binding influence. So perhaps you have you're facing an issue along those lines. Then you have the tree of sounds, great, but then get an extra pendant for curse. Perhaps you don't have the tree of sounds and you're not interested in getting that yet, but you think I could really use love, abundance, health, and curse. So I'm going to get those 4 pendants. That's fine. You can certainly do that. But each of the pendants is $95. The instruction fee for those sounds that fee goes to the teachers, not to Biogenesis. When you buy the pendants, that comes to Biogenesis. But the instruction is paid to the teacher, and this is because while it only takes 20 minutes of your time to be instructed in a pair of the personal sacred sounds, which means 80 minutes for the full set of instruction, it also involves several hours of preparation work on the part of the teacher. So we're asking the teachers to take a lot of their personal time to dedicate it to instructing you in your personal sacred sounds. And that's why the teacher is paid for the teacher's time to instruct you. So I wanted to make sure that that part was clear for you. And importantly, and just what Lantos said in his message, let me find it from the 3rd, from Sunday. He said, "We are very fortunate. The teachings of the 8 expressions of personal sounds, sounds associated with the individual material form, are now offered." This is going to be a very good year. The great wave of creation has been enlivened. We successfully enlivened the great wave of creation during the Holy Season course, and the toes of creation, the traces of empty, that sea spray was generated. And that means that we will continue to receive the significant blessings of the enlivened aspect of the great wave of creation throughout this year. And as that great wave of creation continues to be enlivened, it expresses itself as the golden form of creation. And that, of course, is what we're all looking forward to. Okay, everyone. Thanks for watching today. Have a great rest of your week. I'll speak with you again on Sunday.